Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. When I was 8 years old, I discovered I had this ability to predict the future in my dreams. I had dreamt that my family and I had been on the road and we all needed to go to the bathroom really badly. And we stopped the car and ran into a Kmart. The three of us just went running into a Kmart. I didn't really think much of it. I think I might have even wet the bed because that's why I would dream about going to the bathroom, something to that effect. But a couple days later, we went out for lunch, and on the way home, sure enough, we needed to go to the bathroom. And I look up and I say, "Hey, look, there's a Kmart over there. Why don't we go there to go to the bathroom?" I said it before I even thought about the dream. It was only after I said it that I realized that a few nights ago I had made that dream. But my parents refused to believe me, and I started to kick myself, thinking that I should have brought it up before it happened. Although if I brought it up, maybe it wouldn't have happened, right? Because we would have been more alert to the concept of going to the bathroom. We might have gone at the restaurant. It's one of those things that it could only happen in a certain way, right? So it's kind of a dilemma, right? Maybe it was not destined to be let out that people know that I could dream the future. I've had a few other innocent ones just like that. When I was collecting coins, I would often dream about finding rare coins in my change, only to find them a few days later. That happened too many times. Um, I was really anxious about a class I was taking. I was going to college part time, and I dreamt about a, a problem that might come up on the exam. I studied for it, and sure enough, a situation just like that came up on the exam, and stuff like that. And I gotta be careful when I have bad dreams, though. I can't tell you how many times I have a bad dream. I wake up relieved it was only a dream, only for it to then happen and for me to think, I was so relieved and now it's happened. I was working at a different university when I dreamt that mercury was spilled in the chemistry lab at the university. A little bit of background. I am autistic and I'm sensitive to heavy metal exposure. I gotta be very, very mindful about my exposure to heavy metals, whether it be through the diet or through my environment. So, for example, if I eat fish that's very heavy in mercury, within a few hours to a few days, I will feel the cognitive effects of it. I could tell you how much mercury there is in my fish just by the effect it has on it, not by the taste, but by the by the mental effect it has on me. Similarly, I work with metal casting, right? If I buy pure metals and then I alloy them, I'm usually fine. Where I run into trouble is if I picked up recycled metals, right? Whether it be from finding stuff at the secondhand store and then melting them down, or melting an unknown substance. That's where I run into drama. One time I had bought what I thought was a tin bismuth eutectic alloy, and after working with it, I got very, very dizzy and started hallucinating. I took a sample of that to a local coin dealer. He has a machine that can X-ray metals, and so he didn't find anything unusual. But his machine only goes down to 0.01%, right? So it could have had a trace amount of, among other things, mercury, thallium, or lead, and so which could have caused some of those symptoms. We don't know. But anyway, that's how sensitive I am. So I dreamt that mercury had been spilled in the chemistry lab at the college campus, which is not atypical. If you do a Google search, mercury spill in a college campus, you'll find a few things. And when I woke up, I was so relieved. Until a couple of days later, I'm eating lunch in the break room, and a custodian breaks a fluorescent light bulb. Now, because I had that dream, I was prepped up for it, and I took all my stuff and I ran from the building, and I texted the entire class saying that I had an emergency. I'll make up the class at some other time. Would have been good, except the HR girl complained that I left a mess in the break room. I was in such a hurry to leave. Now, somebody, I don't know if it's the HR girl or somebody else, was really passive aggressive and had placed all of my stuff in a cardboard box, including food that was clearly going to rot. They could have just thrown it away instead of putting it in a cardboard box. It was clearly passive aggressive. It wasn't, oh, this guy might want this later. Let's put it in a cardboard box. He can clean it up, right? And long story short, I ran into a little drama because not too many people understand everything, right? You got to understand. I've had autism since I was 13. I've known it was mercury related since I was 19. I know it like the back of my hand, and I don't want to lecture everybody about my history. And so I told the HR girl, I'm sensitive to mercury. I am autistic, and she didn't know any about that, and she laughed at me. Now I was. That was the beginning of the end of my career there because it's just too much. And unfortunately, I when I tell my friends this story, and or when I ask ChatGPT, because lately I've been putting all of my problems into ChatGPT to see for inspiration. Everybody tells me that's very illegal what the HR girl did. You should report it and all that. Yeah, I've learned the hard way. There's a big difference between what our law says and what we're capable of actually enforcing. Or let's face it, no matter what the law says, I need a paycheck, right? And so I've learned to treat the law book more as a reference, as a framework of how I should conduct myself, rather than this is how other people might have to behave, right? But anyway, so I got to be careful when I have these bad dreams because oftentimes they come to pass as well. One night I dreamt, this was during the Ukraine war. I dreamt that I had started dating a girl in Ukraine and I was going to move to Ukraine to be with her. And so in the dream, I was also, as I was packing to get ready to move, Peter Shit was talking about how silver had hit $60,000 an ounce. How he was right all along, he was right all along, he was right all along. And in the dream, I was packing a 1,000 ounce silver bar to fund my retirement when I get to Ukraine. And I woke up from that dream. Not long after that, I did start dating a Ukrainian refugee. And hopefully not long after then, silver will hit $60,000 an ounce at some point, right? Um, I had a dream that I had met one of Mary Curry's family members. What had happened was Donald Trump was running on a platform of tariffs and Doge. He was talking about how some 200-year-old people were still collecting Social Security. So I dreamt that myself and a couple of surviving family members of Mary Curry had gone to heaven to visit Mary Curry to see what she was up to. And up in heaven, Mary Curry had built a nuclear reactor and she was making polonium-210. And she was funding her project with Social Security checks, and she had ordered tons and tons of bismuth because of polonium-210 is now made from neutron activation of bismuth. But unfortunately, time was running out because Donald Trump was going to cut off her Social Security money, and also because of the tariffs, she wasn't going to be able to buy more bismuth. I was trying to make sense of what was going on with the situation, and I dreamt about that. Not long after that, one day I decided to email Helene Curry, and to my surprise, I got a response. And so, once again, a lot of my dreams end up coming true in one way or another. Now, here's a scary one. In 2022, I had quit masturbating for 40 days. And I'm a big fan of Polish Idol season 1 runner-up Evelina Falenta, and I dreamt about her. I dreamt I had gone to visit her. And because it had been so many years since I had quit masturbating, in the dream, it seemed like it had been at least 2 or 3 years since I quit masturbating. Because of that, I got her pregnant with 10 babies at one time. Now, funny thing is, in the dream, neither of us were really concerned about that. We were all very excited. So maybe it's not the end of the world. I recently started, believe it or not, I added her on Facebook and we chatted a few times. One day I dropped the L-bomb and she reacted positively to that. And I got scared to death because once again, all of my dreams end up coming to pass one way or another. And whether they be good dreams, bad dreams, silly dreams, serious. Oh, there was another one. I dreamt that 9 years ago, I had broken up with a girl. What had happened was she was upset that I was spending all my time writing computer games. I was late getting to her home. And I dreamt she got married. And in the dream, I was so jealous of her getting married and her new husband that I gave them a wedding gift. It was a crystal made of some radioactive material, and it was slowly killing them. I was watching them get cancer and laughing about it. And not long after that, sure enough, they got married. Now, funny thing is, later that weekend, after the weekend after they got married, I was making crystals out of a radioactive material when I poured one just like the one that it looked like it, the one in my dream, except it was a few quintillion times weaker than the one in my dream. So I gave it to them. And maybe it might save their lives, actually, because even though it's radioactive, it probably blocks more radiation than it gives off, right? So maybe it might just save them from that one cosmic ray that was going to kill them, right? Oh, there's another one. I dreamt that because of my eating disorder, one of my ex-girlfriends didn't want. I had seen her at a computer Olympiad conference and she refused to get in the elevator with me. She looked at her new boyfriend and said, "Don't get in the elevator with this guy. He has a disease." I woke up shaking, thinking that my eating disorder was out of control and I needed to do something about it. Well, I had the dream in late 2019, and just a few weeks after that, everybody was shying away from getting into the elevator with anybody else over a disease, right? This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum.